Now, I know this might be something that some of you brothers know about in regarding to the anti-SYSBM people or movement. Now, here's an article I just want to go over real quick about SYSBM, the anti-SYSBM. But when I read this, a lot of you are going to know these are the typical arguments against SYSBM and mischaracterizations and misrepresentations, the usual, okay? But you'll know as soon as I address it. There is a website called the Black Youth Project at the Black, and I don't really like to shout out some of these websites like this, but I am going to give you the source. This is back in 2019. Matter of fact, November 15th of 2019. And of course, whoever wrote it just says by contributors because apparently nobody had enough guts to stand by this nonsense. But anyway, here we go. The title of this article is, or this little piece, this little hit piece on SYSBM is titled, How One Online Community Has Channeled Their Misogynoir into the quote-unquote Save Yourself Black Men movement. Right? And you got little stupid quotes here. Oh, let's see, Aaron Fountain. Okay, I don't know who this guy is. I probably care less, but I'll look him up. It's a quote here by him, and he's on Twitter. The motto is laced with virulent misogynoir and overt anti-black racism. Of course. Wearing a helmet that covers his face and talking over a compilation of photographs of black men with mostly white women. YouTuber, of course, Mad Bus Driver X frequently tells his listeners, save yourself, black men. Save themselves from what? One might ask. The answer is simple. Save yourself from alleged inherent dysfunction of black communities, especially from black women. Move out and date out. Oh yeah, because it's alleged dysfunction. Yeah, that's funny. He coined the phrase in 2014, just a few months before the protests and the subsequent riots in Ferguson, Missouri. I don't think that was his intent, but whatever. In the midst of the unrest, he criticized protesters. Here's a problem, bros, that black people in the community have, he began. See, there's no man in charge of the community. There's no man in charge of the black household. Yeah, well, that's by and large true. Again, now, let's see. He went on to say that the women who run these households operate on emotions, not logic. This presumed dysfunctionality made him conclude with, quote unquote, brothers, that's why you need to go out and get you something different. Essentially, get any woman but a black woman because other women still come from a culture that respects men and they will impute that culture into your children. Mad Bus Driver X's comments are emblematic of the core philosophy of Save Yourself Black Men, or more properly known by the acronym SYSBM, established by the originator as a movement that is inherently selfish, anti-black, and misogynistic. Yeah, and who says this? The person who wrote this nonsense? Yeah. It believes black men can find salvation by dating interracially and distancing themselves from black people, black women specifically. SYSBM could be best summarized as competitive victimhood. Yeah, I don't think they're trying to compete. The whole point is they have options, but you can mischaracterize it like you do. And this is, again, let me stop. Let me finish this. Self-described thinking black men view themselves as victims of black women's autonomy. Oh, see, for one, why whoever wrote this think they get to speak for the reasons why? Okay. Now, how do you get to speak for how the people view themselves? They're victims of. See, this is some feminist bullshit right here. This is some feminist bullshit here. Because this is trying to make it seem like as if they want to say we're the biggest victims, but you're trying to compete with us being victims, which is projection right there. And then the thinking black men, because God forbid a black man thinks, they put that in quotes, view themselves as victims of black women's autonomy. Okay, because they said that, right? Yeah, just put words in people's mouth, why don't you? What a joke. It supports a worldview that black men are more, quote unquote, safe being away from them and their alleged dysfunctional behavior and can find a peace of mind by dating interracially. For them, this esoteric cabal rationalizes their views about black pathology, their intentional decision to have children with non-black women, and live abroad or in middle and upper class white neighborhoods they call Pleasantville. Now, I'm not sure where they got that from, but I'm sure that's some term they're using. So there's some caricature of a person as SYSBM, but they'll throw that obviously on the whole movement. Proponents believe SYSBM is a growing international movement, but in reality it's just a regurgitation of unresolved problems of internalized racism and misogyny war among black men that has found a home on the internet. London-based writer Babatunde Umana, if I'm pronouncing this right, editor of the website SlayingEvil.com, and author of the self-published book Negro Wars, recently outlined the tenets of SYSBM. SYSBM is not about saving the black community. He claims, as far as we are concerned, the black community is dead and black women were the ones who killed it. He went on to declare that SYSBM rejects feminism, yep, that's true, LGBTQ people, women of other races who lack class, and non-black women who have black female friends. He also maintains that SYSBM is quote-unquote concerned about the future of children, believing that black women have a deep disdain and hatred for black children and will seek to destroy them through abortion or physical and mental abuse. And while this doctrine purports that not all black men are undesirable, Umar insists that black women who can still be seen as desirable, quote-unquote, become an extreme rarity to the point of extinction. This sentiment has become increasingly popular on social media, even amongst those not firmly in the SYSBM movement. Although supporters of SYSBM view themselves as living their best possible lives and expanding their romantic options, the motto is laced with virulent misogyny and overt anti-black racism. It associates blackness with danger, discomfort, and stagnation, whereas whiteness is associated with tranquility, security, and upward mobility. Additionally, it endorses conservative talking points by blaming black people's behavior for persistent racial inequality. Black neighborhoods, which it refers to as the community, are inherently dysfunctional and lack any propitious prospects to improve. Commentators frequently misuse social science research to support their arguments. They believe, well, you can probably use that on yourselves as well. They believe black women are socially irredeemable and incapable of possessing quote-unquote feminine traits, referring to them as straggle-daggles and succubi. You cannot build anything with the black witch in your midst, asserts Umana. SYSBM also promotes a quasi-eugenicist ideology. Advocates believe procreating with non-black women will provide the children with the best resources, fair skin, and good hair. No, see, and intellectual capacity. First of all, that whole good hair thing, that is a projection because that does not come from black men. That comes from black women. Let's just be real. Let's just get honest. Black Youth Project, because this ain't it right here. That right there, let me stop you right there. That idea. That is not at all the idea of SYSBM is to say, let me engage in colorism. Colorism in the black community, anybody who wants to be honest with himself, mainly comes from black women. Let's just be real. Black men who date and sleep with white women are deemed as quote-unquote winning. Other popular hashtags such as EBM, Escape Black Men, and Passport Bros follow this sentiment. Traveling is heralded as one of the main methods by which black American men can save themselves. People often migrate to new locations for a lucrative job offer, to be close to family, or to follow a significant other in their career aspirations. SYSBM is not at all concerned with these factors and instead encourage black men to pack their belongings and move across the country and even abroad to increase their prospects of dating interracially. In recent months, advocates have told their followers to obtain passports. To SYSBM, a passport isn't just a government-based document that allows citizens entry into foreign countries. It represents liberation from only dealing with black American women. Moreover, having one grants a sense of superiority since SYSBM labels black women as fearful and jealous towards passport holders, overlooking the obvious fact that many black women also have passports. Yeah, big deal. It believes black women's dating options will dwindle significantly if black men continue to travel abroad for sexual conquest overseas or to find a submissive foreign bride. If one lacks the ability to live abroad or is disinterested, SYSBM encourages them to travel within the United States to places that are allegedly more accepting of black men, but this perceived acceptability isn't about whether one will encounter racism or better job prospects. It's measured by whether or not the white women that are open to dating black men. SYS believes that certain parts of the United States are more difficult for black men who date in relationship than others. Well, that's true. That's true. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to end it there. This is a load of garbage. What else is new? Because, first of all, some people may feel the way they feel, but these little virtue signaling, shaming articles, first of all, a lot of the stuff they say is projection. And the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of truth to what they say, what's said in the SYSBM movement. They can try to downplay it and flip it on the people talking about it all they want to. But if these people really wanted to, look, and this is some dude who has, Aaron G. Fontaine, is a PhD candidate from the Department of History at Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana. His writings appeared in Al Jazeera, Latino Rebels, The Hill, Black Perspectives, and Occupy. Yeah, we could care less about what Aaron G. Fountain thinks. Let's just say that from the word from this top. We could not give two fucks about what some overeducated lame wants to say, some cupcake and simp wants to say about how he feels about the SYSBM movement. This is a pandering Negro, 9 times out of 10. So, you know what? This is what these people need to do. They need to be real and understand that the guys in the SYSBM movement don't care. Passport bros don't care what you folks think. You can do all these mischaracterizations all you want. You can write as many articles you want. Guess what? These bros don't care. And the idea that first of all, let me just address one thing that was said here. And the idea is to say that most people move to get closer to families or to pursue better job offers. First of all, in order to travel, you got to have money in the first place. So these guys are not guys who are broke in most cases. These are guys who got their shit together. And that's what the real problem is that the community and these Negroes like that, people like Dr. Umar, will have all kinds of smoke for black men, but they don't have any smoke for black women. They have none. And the reality of it is, that's a big reason why the community is the way that it is. The community is the way that it is. It's because they're always trying to find a way to flip things onto black men. Things that are not even their fault. Because that's the easiest thing to do, is to say, well, if the black men would step up and be leaders, if the black men would do this, the black man would do that, the black man would do this. And then, I mean, let's be real. Let's not just talk about black women, let's talk about women in general. If the only thing women has to do is be there in your presence and give you some box every once in a blue moon, I'm going to just be real. She's pretty much useless. Because what she's providing you is not something unique. It's not something that that can't be provided by other women. Because it's not like she's the only one that has a vagina. She's not the only one that's got a mouth. She's not the only one that's got a booty hole. So if you want to get down to the raw dog truth, these guys, you want to dismiss what they're saying, dismiss it all you want to. But the reality of it is, you need to listen to some of it. You may agree or disagree with some of it, but there's a reason this sentiment is out there. Okay? There's a reason this is going on. It's not going on just because black men are just, self-hating, colorism, programmed freaks. But that's the narrative they want, which that again is basically projection on the other side of the gender aisle. That's what a lot of this does. It's not to say that obviously there's never a case where there's only self-hate amongst black women, but let me tell you, a lot of colorism comes from black women. Say whatever they want. They know it. That whole good hair, light skin thing, that is not a black male value system. That's not part of it. That's not. That's in general, that's not. But they want to make it seem that way. You're right, SYSBM is not about saving the black community. And I just want to reiterate that to the brother who sent me a message in one of my comment sections. And I just want to say, listen, I don't want any of y'all to get the impression that my goal is to turn SYSBM into a movement to somehow save the black community. If anyone got that message, I want to apologize and reiterate that's not my goal. I just wanted to have an expanded conversation on SYSBM in regards to the growth that we can get as black men. Not just letting other men see that it's not just about dating out. It's a much bigger picture than that. You get your passport. There are a lot of other opportunities saving yourself, not just from women, but the overall Western society's place they have for you, which is to stay in the matrix, to stay enslaved socially, to where you cannot get out of the little area that they want to pigeonhole you in. And the passport does give you that ability because it gives you the ability to travel, to create opportunities for you, not just as far as dating, but even in business. That's the reality. But see, these folks write these things to pander because that's how they get their money, by trying to talk down, and because they got a degree. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of people that got degrees that are the biggest liars in the world. Having a degree does not make you, doesn't stop you from being a liar. And the great Noam Chomsky made a big point about what education does. Education depends on the individual, meaning that we can both read, like say 3, 4, 5 of us can read the same book. Well, all of us can get some of the same things, but we can also get a different message out of it. So we can also take and dismiss certain things, and we can accept others just based on human biases and other perceptions. So this idea that because somebody, hell, let's look at Kimberly Crenshaw, the woman who created intersectional feminism. Do you really think what she did was good for the community? How did it help? Really, as far as I'm concerned, intersectional feminism was made as a way, it was almost like a militarized version of feminism, because what it did was say, here, let's pull the troops together and create these alliances, because we can't do it on our own, because we got to go across past gender lines, we got to go across racial and other lines and LGBTQ lines, and this way we can create this whole alliance. But it doesn't work, because you know why? Because feminism started with white women in this country. That's the reality. And you're not going to get away from that, okay? Because really, at the end of the day, the black feminists are just traitors to the community at the end of the day. And the reality of it is, they still have to be subservient to white women. Because a lot of them worship white women. And just as someone has said, they have the Miss Ann complex. And a lot of them just will follow, like a white woman can lead them by the nose. And it goes on, it's still going on. So, these articles like this are just, somebody wants to say, it's just like that very, very smart brothers nonsense. That one article was the one that Jamel Hill reveled in, talking about black men are the white men of black society. That kind of nonsense. You know what the best thing to do to beat this stuff? Is not give a damn. I mean, really, y'all can talk about what you want to talk about. Guess what? The Black Manosphere, Red Pill, SYSBM, More, none of it's going anywhere. Mad Bus Driver X, he's not going anywhere. These brothers are going to do what they're doing. You know why? Because they've had an awakening, and they realize that they are not going to any longer become serfs and slaves for an ungrateful group of people, or a community that does not want them really to be in leadership, in a system that supports those that want to keep black men out of leadership in their community in order to continue to exploit this community. So guess what? Since that's the case, brothers say, guess what? We're going to vote with our feet. Shout out to Angry Man, point blank. And if they're not willing to come to the table and say, hey, listen, let's maybe we need to make a better deal, then guess what? Go outside the community. Because guess what? Black men don't have any, they don't have a new slave owner, okay? Black women don't get to be black men's new slave owners, okay? We're free, we're going to stay damn free. Like it or not, I'm out.